This is
serious now.
This is a serious episode.
Welcome to episode 5.
Just talking. Start again.
I'm just trying to make an introduction.
Oh, you just practicing?
Yeah, I'm practicing. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been saying welcome to episode 5 all day. Just sitting on my desk. Welcome to episode 5 of Over 2 Cans. Today is Get Serious, Sam.
It is.
I am Alex, and this is Sam, and this is Serious Over 2 Cans.
Serious. Our first serious episode, I'd say. The last 4.
They're nothing compared to this one. This one is business.
The big time.
This is big time. We've hit the fucking jackpot already.
We did.
Last week, Sam, we went and interviewed 2 amazing people.
2 amazing people in the craft beer world.
In the craft beer world at what is becoming one of our favourite breweries.
Yeah.
Beak Brewery. And how much fun did we have?
100 million % of fun was had, I'd say.
It really was, wasn't it?
It was a great day out, I think.
It was a good. Was it when? It was a Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday.
It was a good
rogue
completely
day
rogue.
of the week to visit a brewery.
It
As
was-
we know from a previous episode, breweries don't open their doors during the week.
You know what? When we got there, like I had in my mind that it was going to be like a really quiet, peaceful, well managed venue, and we got there and it was absolute fucking chaos.
What did they say to us? That this isn't a normal day in the
Normal day,
brewery.
yeah.
They were like, we've got our whole team in today, bottling. What was it? 2,000
2,000
bottles of mixed firm.
but they were like 750ml bottles,
Yeah.
which they'd never done before.
Never done.
And we literally walked into like World War III pretty much.
Yeah.
And we were like, where are we even going to set up?
Yeah, and they were like, we've never had the whole team in before. And we were like, great.
Good day for a podcast. We only need you to be quiet for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, but actually, I will add,
Yeah.
I will say that I think it added to the authenticity,
The atmosphere,
and
absolutely.
the atmosphere of our episode.
Also, do you remember the man that was drilling during our interviews?
God, we had it all. We had the hoops, and someone was like, jump through all of them. It was mental.
And we even had people like coming past the camera
Yeah.
as well, which I actually quite liked in the end.
Yeah, I think for our first excursion, we were tested.
We were thrown in the deep end for sure, yeah. And I have listened back to the audio and I can confirm that it is audible.
So we'll just do the same next time and we'll be fine.
We'll just show up on the busiest day of the year for the
I
next brewery we
Do
go
have
to.
to say, just quickly, do you know what my favourite thing about our visit was? And I don't think I've told you this yet.
Well, it wasn't the toads.
Well,
Apart-
don't give the game away.
Sorry, I meant the frogs.
Did you go into their toilets?
Yeah.
Did you see what colour the toilet seat was?
I went in the left one.
Oh, I went in the right one every
Oh.
time.
I
What
went
colour
in the
was your
left,
toilet seat?
I just assumed it was white because I never noticed.
Oh, mine was yellow. I was like, how very on brand.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
shit.
literally like, this is amazing. This is my favourite
I
part
didn't-
of this brewery.
I didn't go in the
The
right
toilet seat.
I like that you went in the right and I only went in the left.
Yeah.
Well, next time I'll go in the right.
Well, we can add that to our
It
preference
definitely
questions.
wasn't a yellow toilet seat. I would have recognised
Yeah,
it.
you would have
You would
known
know.
that, yeah.
You'd know about yellow toilet
Yeah.
seat.
I should have taken a photo for the memory.
Should have taken a picture of the white one. So we have got on this episode essentially 4 segments. So we've got our first. Go on.
I was just going to say, get it in the right order.
We've got our first. Our first what? Our first
Interview?
person. Our first interview with none other than Jay Cover, who I would like to send an apology to
Yes.
for mispronouncing his name for the last 4 episodes. He's been the main man since episode 1, since
Yeah.
we had the beak sleep. Was it sleep?
Uh,
No,
Popple.
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 Sorry, yeah.
Popple.
So Jay if you're watching, we apologise for the surname mispronunciation. But thank you for the interview. It was amazing, and we're going to show it. Should we just do it now? Or do you want to? Have you got anything else to say?
No.
So, should we just put it in the little square like this for the whole time, or should we put it on the full screen?
Full screen. Jay deserves full screen.
He definitely does. Right, here is our interview, our very first interview with Jay Cover, the man himself.
Jay Cover, baby. It's Cover.
Yeah.
Cover. Cool.
It's not the end of the world, is it?
No. I'm a stickler for pronunciation on names. It's respect at the end of the day.
Well, every teacher I've ever had
It said cover.
cover. Yeah, every year, and then I have to say, it's just embarrassing at the start of the year. It's more, it's like a family, family have to say, you have to say this.
Yeah.
I think we can. It's like, yeah.
What is the history of the name? Do you know?
No, I've looked it up a bit, but I don't really get on with that side of my family that well.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I haven't really got loads of interest in sort of delving into it too much. But from what I've gathered, it's like a Belgian name for someone who used to like roof. Yeah, it makes sense. Cover. To roof houses.
Okay.
It's like a trade name.
That is
you don't meet many people with that name.
No.
Everyone thinks, like a lot of my students used to think it was like a made-up name. And I was like,
a made-up name?
Yeah, because book covers or.
It does sound like an artist name.
Yeah.
Like just like a stage name, doesn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, it does. I actually did think before we met Jay today that it might have been a moniker.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
And I feel like we've said it so much over the last 5 weeks as well.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of Over 2 Cans. I'm Sam.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Jay Cover.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we finally got here. We're actually inside, we're inside the doorway of Beak Brewery. And we got here, Alex.
It's very busy in here, and we hope you can hear us okay. They're currently bottling 2,000 bottles of something. But yeah.
Mixed firm,
I
believe. And yeah, we're here. We came through with our promise. Jay is sitting right next to us, and we're about to get down and dirty with him and ask him some, hopefully, questions he's never heard before. Lovely to meet you, Jay.
And you? Very nice to meet you.
Right, let's get stuck in, because I know you're a very busy man. I think our first question for you is, how did your work with Beak first come about?
It came through a mutual friend of ours, actually, a guy called Ollie, who works for Ollie Shaw, works for a design company called Catalogue. And Danny is very good friends with Ollie, and we've got a relationship that goes back to sort of Leeds days. And I was in and around Danny through Ollie. We sort of met each other in the studio. Danny was part of this like sort of skate group that skate group. It's a weird way of putting it. But they're like skaters, and they sort of hung out together. And I shared a studio with Ollie and Tom, who both run this design agency called Catalogue. I sort of met Danny through Ollie, basically.
Wicked.
Yeah, and Ollie does all the design for the cans, all the sort of layouts and everything. I obviously do the illustration.
And you did the illustrations. That sounds cool. Did you? Were you part of the skating activity?
No. Weirdly, I've always strangely sort of. I guess art and skating, and it sort of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's like I always hang out with musicians, but I can't play. I can play the drums now a little bit, but and I play the guitar a little bit, but I wouldn't consider myself a musician.
Yeah.
I always seem to hang out with
you hang in
skaters,
those circles.
musicians, like-minded people, I suppose.
I think like-minded, and definitely kind of it's creativity, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Expressing yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
And we were kind of discussing off camera that you've done. Well, you think in your head potentially about 30 different designs for the cans.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I need to get them all in sort of chronological order and organise my files and system a little bit. And because I think at this point I've been working with Beak for 3 or 4 years now, and I think it would be good to sort of get them all together and just have a sort of look over what we've done over the last few years.
Absolutely.
And sort of put it all in order and just have a look. And it's just something I haven't got around to yet.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, you showed us your Dropbox and it's a mess.
Yes, absolute nightmare. Yeah.
We've been treated today. So Danny has sorted us out with some beers.
He has
Amble,
an IPA.
I always do that. Don't need to.
No guessing the ABVs today, Sam.
Jay, please tell us
About the turtle.
about the turtle, please. We need to know.
I'm going to reveal a secret here, but the turtle was supposed to be for the mixed fermentation. That's why it's a bit wider on the can than the other labels, which are a bit tighter.
Well, he's going to go on the bottle.
Yeah, it was going to go on the bottle, but
Right.
actually, I did another. I usually do about 3 labels at the same time, and sometimes we'll just sort of mix them up. Sometimes we'll decide actually that one will look better on the bottle. So it'll look a bit nicer.
Yeah.
So it's just we had three different designs, and then the turtle actually ended up finding its way onto the can rather than the bottle.
I think he's in the right place.
But this is kind of what I meant. Danny asked me to draw a turtle. This is why. I just thought it's such a simple thing. I just want to keep it simple. I just want a very primitive. And it was almost the first one I did. I was just smiley. I just had this idea of it. I didn't even know what it was going to look like until I put it on the page. It was just a very basic, funny looking.
I love
smiley
it.
Turtle.
Look at you. Look
Yeah.
at it. And Amble, was that Danny? Was that a word from Danny, or did you get involved in the word Amble?
Yeah, well, sometimes Danny will send me a list of words, and they're just he's a word man. He's a writer, he was a writer. So yeah, he likes words, and sometimes you just send me a list of words, and I'll just respond to it.
And this is funny because in a previous episode, we drank a beer called Popple
Yep.
by Beak, and we just loved saying that word, didn't we?
Popple,
It's a good word.
That was in our pilot one,
It
wasn't it?
was in our pilot episode, which nobody will ever see.
Yet to be released.
Or we said we'd release it on our 100th episode as a little treat. This is how bad this podcast could be.
We're 1/20th of the way there now.
So the words on this can: this super pale and fluffy IPA. Fluffy?
It is fluffy.
Fluffy?
Fluffy, yeah. That's a good word.
Was brewed with flaked wheat, continental white wheat, and extra pale malt, along with a massive dry hop charge of Enigma, Sabro, and Mosaic, our favourite hop,
Yep.
for flavours of chamomile, lemongrass, and mushy raspberry. So it's a fruity number. What are your thoughts, Jay? Have you drunk this beer before, or is this a new one for you?
This is a new one. Yeah, I haven't tried this. I would say, just coming clean, I probably haven't tried 70% of the beers.
Okay.
Because there's such a quick turnover, and obviously we've been in a pandemic, and the stocks are limited and things like that, and I don't always try everything.
Yeah.
Daddy just send me boxes of beer with selections of beer in, but I don't manage to get through all of them.
Absolutely.
But yeah, in terms of this beer, yeah, I'd say my initial. You get a nice sort of bitter flavour to start off with, and it sort of feels like it expands in your mouth or something.
It does.
And then you get quite a fruity hit
Yeah,
afterwards.
it's great. What about
Yeah.
you, Alex?
I think Jay is very good at describing the beers.
Better than you.
Yeah, better than me. So
And me.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this podcast? I agree. I pretty much agree with everything on that can, to be fair. It's the bitter is very well balanced, I have to say. And then you just get that overriding fruity at the end. And we were discussing it off camera as well, the colour.
it's a very nice dank colour.
Very nice. We actually, there's nothing in this can. But how would you say that word, Jay?
Déšt.
Déšt.
I think.
Is that
China.
French?
Is it French? No.
French? I'm
Yeah,
putting you on the
I
spot
think
here.
So.
So we've got a Pilsner, which we're going to try after our interview with Jay as well.
It's got a lot of accents on top of those letters.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why I just had a guess at French.
Too many accents.
Could be
for me
Too
to
many. It's a
understand the
5% Pilsner. Jay, please talk us through your design on this one.
Well, I think the idea with that one was like, well, this one's quite like a communicative one, I suppose, compared to like some of the other labels where maybe we go a bit more abstract, or like this one's about sort of celebrating out in the sun. You know, I think it was released around the time that the pandemic was kind of ending, and there's this kind of, it's just a reflection of like we've been locked down.
Brighter days are coming.
Yeah, the weather was getting better at that time as well, and we're sort of allowed to start going out again, and the beer's a sort of celebration. You know, it's a binder, isn't it, beer?
Just because I'm a curious creature, could you just quickly look up that word, Alex, and find out what it means?
Talk amongst yourselves.
I will. Yeah, I mean, we are huge fans of your work, Jay.
Thank you very much.
I actually remember the first time I saw a Beak can on a shelf in my local pub.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It might have been Strangers. I don't know. Maybe something else. But I remember seeing it on the shelf, and I was completely blown away with, first of all, how it stood out from the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, we talk about it a lot on this podcast that the art on a can is very important. We've kind of said before, 50% of the importance of a beer in can form is the artwork. And I think secondly, I admired how simple and minimal the artwork is, and that is in no way a cuss or a diss.
Yeah.
But speaking to you, I kind of have learned that that's what you're aiming for anyway.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't take it as a diss at all, because that's what I like to do. You know, I like to distill things. I don't like to overcomplicate images, especially. They're supposed to communicate things, and I think my philosophy in as an artist, as an image maker, I'm an illustrator, so I'm trying to make a connection with people between two things. So, you know, and my philosophy is that I like to leave a little bit of space for, you know, it sounds a bit highfalutin, but like I don't like to fill in all the gaps for other people, you know. I like to leave a bit of space so other people can, like, you know, like I don't like to say, like, use their, you know, think what they want of it, because I'm not doing that. It's more that, like, leaving things a little bit more vulnerable, or, you know, actually I find it easier to do like a more complicated thing that gives you all the answers, or like paints a big picture and tells you everything, than it is to sort of try and distill an idea into something that's
Absolutely.
very simple. And you have to be brave to be simple, I think. It's sort of, everything's exposed, and like I like that way of, you know, being bold and being brave with work, and leaving it all out there, and leaving it out to sort of criticism as well, which is fine.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more.
I've done some research.
What does it mean?
It's actually Czech for the word rain. So there we go.
There you go.
I did not know. See that? I did not know that, and obviously it's
I
raining.
feel like I'm
on
in
that count.
dictionary corner on Countdown.
What's your name? Susie Dent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might have been Danny being clever, that one, rather than me.
True.
Very good.
And you've kind of like counteracted that with your artwork in a weird way.
Yeah, well,
You're
it is a
making
very
the
collaborative.
sun, making the sun.
The accent on the T is actually wrong though.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't.
Wow.
I'm not going to tell Danny, but it is wrong.
Is it French as well?
It just says Czech.
Oh, Czech. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Czech.
We're all wrong.
That's all I found on it.
There you go. Cool.
Ignorant.
Ignorant.
To be fair, I don't think I knew the name of that beer before it came out. I think
Oh,
I had
really?
a different. Yeah, it might have been one of those where Danny's found an image and said, "Can you do something like this?" And I just make something that's kind of
What if Danny came up with a beer name that you really, really didn't like? Would you
tell him?
Would you say something?
I might, yeah. I might, yeah.
I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to veto this one, Danny.
Yeah.
I'm not into it.
I think
Find another illustrator.
I think we're all pretty, like, between me and Danny, it's pretty easy going, to be honest. So it's like we're
Also,
kind of on the same wavelength with a lot of stuff.
Another thing I thought was that, you know, you're doing all of the artworks for Beak now, so you've kind of, you know, you've set yourself up as the only man for the job.
Yeah.
So how much have you increased your prices since the start?
Exponentially. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Is it a monthly kind of jump?
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you turn to Danny every month and go,
yeah.
need a bit more this month, Danny?
Yeah, you can start paying me in beer. I'm coming down with the with my guys, and I'm gonna. No. So he spoke to me when he started getting investment and stuff, and said, "Look, we can pay this much." And so to be frank, it was like, and I'm really happy working with them. So it's a really nice relationship. It's one of those that's like,
Is it
you
just
know, I hate
easy?
to say I do for free, because the principle of that I don't agree with, but it's such a nice job. It's just you say it could be up to 3 designs a month, and you know, when they're starting to sort of really, when they got the premises and sort of, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I think that's like half the battle. If you've got a good working relationship with someone, it's just, it makes your life so much easier.
Yep.
And I'm sitting next to someone I have a really bad working relationship with.
You don't seem that way.
What? Who?
Oh, no, nothing. But yeah, it's really, and actually kind of off camera, we've seen you and Danny kind of interacting, and you can clearly see that you guys are just good mates, you know?
Yeah. We didn't sort of like, don't live that far away, but speak on the phone quite a lot. And like our conversations on the phone aren't about business. You know, like a lot of the time it's sort of talk about the business, get out of the way. I can go in an email and then just have a chat.
And then crack on with the beers.
Yeah, and it's, I think we just, like the times we hang out, share a lot of the same principles and just get on with it. Yeah, you know,
Absolutely.
get on with each other quite well. So that really, so that makes working life like really quite straightforward. And, you know, you can be honest with each other. You can, there's rarely any ever like conflict or anything like that. It's just, you know, if there is a problem, you don't need to, like there are in work sometimes, technical problems or problems that have nothing to do with like just solving an issue.
Yeah.
Happens really easily. It's sort of, solved quite quickly. And
Good.
Like our
Good
disagreement, Sam, between how much editing we're going to do on this podcast.
I know. We need to stamp that one out, babe.
We'll have a conversation afterwards, okay?
All right.
Well, we have got a list of questions here. We're only on question 2, so...
We're only on question 1. I only asked him the first one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So now it's question 2.
Now we're on question 2.
So obviously, Sam and I have got Craftline off the ground now, and this podcast, and I feel like none of this would have happened without COVID. Like, obviously COVID is horrendous, but, you know, good things have come out of it. What was your COVID experience like?
Initially it was brilliant, because it was like, I know that's a horrible thing to say in the context, but
Right, I understand.
You have to look at it in context of your own life as well. As well. Obviously, there were I had some problems with it, with family matters and things like that, with COVID that were painful. But my actual experience at the start was like, all the rules of the world have just changed, and I quite like that paradigm shift in day-to-day life.
Yeah.
It's like I can try something else. Like I don't have to concentrate on work. I ended up spending the first 2 weeks just oil painting because I really wanted to.
I thought you were going to say baking bread then.
No. I was, in principle, it's not a dissimilar thing. I was trying to learn how to like paint with oils properly.
I feel like
everyone
took up a new hobby, didn't they? Obviously, you're a painter and illustrator anyway, but I started making puzzles.
Puzzles?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a
I
good
started
one.
Actually making them...
No, I just was putting it together. I went into the puzzle business, got my jigsaw out, I was cutting lines and stuff. No, sorry.
Yeah, no, but and like work-wise, it didn't. I actually, thankfully, didn't really change that much for me. I think a lot of businesses, like I work, like for lots of different kinds of businesses, and a lot of those businesses that, people are kind of shifting the way they work, need new communication materials. Like I'm sort of getting work for helping people to sort of communicate the new way of doing something, or so in terms of work, it was kind of similar.
Yeah.
And I work from a studio from a house anyway, so like
No change there.
no,
Yeah.
it's quite like for me it was kind of no different, apart from you can't go out or
Yeah.
do the socializing and
I think like we were out having a stalk on your Instagram account on the train down here today. We saw that some of the projects you were working on were plugged, and you were showing off some of the illustrations you were kind of working towards with those. But also we did discover that you have been working on some mental projects recently. Just some of the ones we found. Animal Gum?
an amalgam.
An amalgam.
It's
I knew I was
always
going
a
to
play
All
on
the
words.
pronunciation's wrong today.
I knew.
Amalgam
Yeah.
mixed with animals.
Tell us about that.
Okay, that makes sense now.
So yeah,
An amalgam, I get it now. Good.
yeah. So that it started with I was invited to do an activity pack for a charity, needing access to workshops and things like that, but not being able to access them.
Yeah.
That's the issue. So yeah, it's part of this project called Folk Feasts, and they came up with this idea of sort of creating activity packs to send to people to fill in the issue of not having a workshop or being able to access a workshop, which is something they do in their regular routine, or so yeah, I said yes to that, and I thought it was a great initiative. And I came up with this idea about Cabot, which is like a mix. It's about the Isle of Man. It was meant to be about folk animals.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get the opportunity, I'll do something about the Isle of Man.
Which is also a Cabot is a beak beer as well.
They sort of co-opted it later, which is really nice. Actually.
I have this thought in my head of Cabot being like the new Hungry Caterpillar, like a children's book, but just about Cabot.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
Yeah.
I'd love that. We also learnt about Baseline HQ. You do a bit of work for them?
Yeah. So that's like a new initiative where you could do like a free design course online, basically. And there's another thing where I just thought, that's a really great... I was invited to sort of work on it about a year ago, and they were just getting started. And then I'm not sure if there's anything to do with COVID or just how long it takes to put something together like that. But yeah, the materials are just sort of worked on, and that came out quite quick. I've only recently finished that stuff, got the sketches done, got them all approved, and then send them over, and then they've been implemented really quickly. What happens quite often with projects for me is like I'll do some work and it won't come out for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And by that time I was kind of like, it gets a bit foggy in my memory about what it's about, and it's just like you're just carrying on working on things.
Well, I mean, I think what we found quite fascinating with Baseline HQ is that it's a free kind of creative boot camp for people, which you've contributed to.
Yeah. So my partner, Iona, she works for this company called Youth Employability Service as well, which is like trying to help teenagers who've gone a bit wayward or something, just to like find opportunities to like work. So that one really resonated with me, because it's like, this is really nice. And I was a teacher for 6 years as well, and I know the difficulties of sort of funding your own education, or like getting grants, and how exclusive it can be. And I just thought this is a really great way. Before we started the project, we were showing like how it's going to work and things like that. And it's really straightforward. And someone that used to write briefs and teach students, I could see that it really worked. So I was like, I believe in this. It's really good. It's like quite straightforward. Because you could imagine like something like that being quite complicated or quite hard to access, but the way they've done it's just great. It's just like really quite easy to follow, and sort of. But yeah, I just thought it's a really great thing to get involved in, and I really love getting jobs like that where it's.
It seems really cool. And kind of one other thing we saw on your Instagram as well was that you were working I don't know whether it's the area of Canada Water,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it's
tell
a whole
us
area.
some more about that.
Yeah, so that's been going on for a long time, that one. Yeah, it's British Land, like this huge company that sort of own a lot of land around Britain. British Land. And they're sort of redeveloping all of Canada Water. And again, it's a really nice project whereby like the local community have been involved in sort of like orienteering, like what goes there, what kind of facilities they have, what kind of public park, what happens with all the nature reserves, like all this kind of stuff, all consulted with the local community there. And it's not about shipping people out; it's about trying to make that area nicer and better for people and just more rounded. And again, it's just like a really great project, huge epic sort of like. Yeah, it's amazing being involved in things like. I mean, I always feel like I'm just like a side part. To it. You know, there's so many people involved, just like doing the. You know, I'm just putting a bit of the cherry on top or something. I don't know.
I feel in my head, I'm like thinking that Jay has made Jay Coverland in Canada Water, like an amusement park. Like his illustration's going to be everywhere in Canada Water. You walk out of Canada Tube Station, and you're like, I'm in an amusement park.
It's a bit of a different visual from what we had
Someone
earlier,
described
Sam.
Beak Brewery as that. They're like, oh, one of my friends came here for the weekend, had the food and we're hanging out, and they're like, it's like a Jacob theme park. Okay.
This might help you with the next question I want to ask you is, so we've kind of discovered that your work is very varied, which I think is great. So it's nice not to do the same old every day, and you work on all kinds of different projects. If, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but what would kind of be your dream project? Is there a company you'd love to work with?
Yeah, you know what? Like, I feel like it's more like a continuation, really, of doing something I've already done. And we talked about it off camera a bit, but is designing stamps. Like, I really love designing stamps. And I just sort of like everything that's mixed up in it. Sort of, you're always trying to sort of commemorate like an important thing to a community, to celebrate something that is relevant to those people, and it just has this kind of like a stamp has such a heritage, and you have the collectors and things like that as well.
So you have actually designed the stamp?
Yeah, I've done two sets
for the Isle of Man.
For the Isle of Man, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just.
Go on.
It's a really like both sets I've done. I'm just really proud of, and like really. Yeah, I just really enjoy it. I like if every job. I mean, it can't be because I wouldn't enjoy it as much. But if every job was designing a stamp, I'd be over the moon.
I was going to say. Called, so what you're telling us is your main goal is to be the chief stamp designer of the UK.
For the Royal Mint.
There's a guy.
For the Royal Mint.
Yeah, there's a guy called David Gentleman who's like a really famous British stamp designer.
Yeah.
Just book covers
go on, just carry on.
Illustrations.
We're still going. It's fine.
Sorry, Jay.
That's all right. Yeah. Yeah. He's done like a lot of stamps as well, and they're all really beautiful. And they're all like, every time he does one, I mean, you can tell it's him because the way it's laid out and it's designed, and the kind of thought that goes into it, and but yeah, they're quite different approaches. Like, I do some that are kind of graphic, and some that are linear, and some that are. And it's really nice, just like I suppose, like I sort of imagine, like in my dream world, like I'm a sort of like he's still around, like I'm a contemporary David Gentleman, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to do that.
Yeah. You want to take over from him?
Yeah, I don't want to say that. Like,
I feel like designing a stamp is like a very big deal. Like
absolutely.
That is actually amazing.
Yeah.
Like.
Feels like as
an actual stamp that you just like put it on a letter and send it off.
Such like a niche little project. Love that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Cool. So you want to jump in his grave? Excellent. Carry on.
I feel bad now.
So let's use the stamp analogy. How long does a typical stamp take to design?
Probably getting on a year.
A year? For the whole process?
Yeah.
What? The collection or per stamp?
Per stamp.
So there must be a lot
Per collection.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
there must be a big like process to go through, lots of hoops to jump through and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
the
you
Queen
a-
has to sign off on them. So
Really?
yeah.
Really?
Every stamp, yeah.
So the Queen has seen your stamps.
Yeah.
Do you get a
Got a
letter?
letter off the
You
Queen.
get a letter from the Queen? For real?
Yeah.
Really?
He gets a letter from the Queen. So you've done 2 stamp collections.
Yeah.
So you have 2 letters from the Queen.
I've
at
got
home.
one letter. The other, they go to the Isle of Man post office, but they forwarded on the first one to me, but I haven't had the
That is
wherewithal to ask them for the second one.
So
ultimate goals.
So you're
Ultimate.
missing a letter from the Queen.
Yeah.
So a letter from the Queen got lost in the post. That's about stamps. That is the headline for our podcast right there.
It's probably emailed
Oh my
over now,
God.
isn't it?
That is insane.
Oh my
That is
God.
crazy.
Love
Yeah.
that.
That is mental.
Yeah, but the process is kind of like, it's like a pitching thing to start off with. So, you'll have some of them, like the second one I did, the idea was brought to me. The first one, I brought them some ideas. They invited me to do a stamp, but didn't know what to do it about. So it's like, I've got 6 themes.
Yeah.
So they've started the grooming process already.
Yeah. But yeah, the first one was about folk traditions, which I was really interested in, specifically about the Isle of Man, because I grew up around it and I really miss it and I love it, and it's always been an interest of mine. And then the second one, which is something I brought to them, the second one was about celebrating the Year of the Ox, which they thought I would respond to well. So
With Chinese
The
Chinese thing.
The Chinese,
Yeah.
Chinese New Year.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is a little fact as well. We've designed it's the first ever triangular stamp issued by a British postal administration. So it's it's a good one for like collectors and stuff.
Okay.
It's the first ever triangular
You
stamp.
designed it.
And you designed it. The revelations just keep coming, Alex. I'm shocked. I just can't believe he's got a letter from the Queen saying, signing that one off.
I can't believe.
Signing that collection
I
of
can't
stamps
believe
off.
there's a letter from the Queen
She's
that's lost
probably
in the
got a big
post.
file of stuff where she's just like, yeah, whatever. Like,
Is it a printed letter?
Yeah.
And then it's just signed at the bottom.
Yeah, it's signed. The letter says something along the lines of, Her Majesty the Queen has said. It's like by one of her right hand.
Nice one, Jay.
Yeah.
With a picture of a
She has
thumbs up.
given. yeah. She has given her consent
approval.
to the
Okay.
approval, to this.
Brilliant.
My mind is blown.
Love that.
It blew my mind when I got it. I was like, really like, wow.
Have you framed it?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Have you framed
No,
it?
it's on my corkboard in my kitchen.
You've got a hole in it, Jay.
Oh my
Come
God.
on, man.
Do you know the only thing which could be worse than that is if he was using it as a coffee coaster? It's just coffee rings all over it.
It might be a tea coaster, Sam.
I just got home and I was like, oh, I love that's good, isn't it? Stick that on the board.
Right, bringing it back to kind of Beak and your work you do with Beak. I think there's a beer coming out this week or next week called Italian Pills, which is a collab. So Beak are doing a collab with North Brewing Co. But we actually like to think of it as a 4-way collab because you have collaborated with their design company.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep, they're
They're
in-house
called
design.
Refold.
Refold, yeah.
How was that experience?
It's very straightforward, actually. There's sort of they came up with the concept of sort of looking at. But we both got this like Leeds connection, and me and Danny have got a sort of Leeds connection as well. Just looking at like the Roger Stevens building. Like I went to university in Leeds, so yeah, it just felt really like it's about that place, and it's sort of that structure is quite significant there, and it's just sort of celebrating a landmark there, something that represents that place, especially like learning and education and things. So, and it's like an innovation in architecture, and it's an amazing thing. So it's just a celebration of that. So essentially, they came up with this concept and just kind of sent me a load of photographs, like different parts of it, and I looked at it and sort of did some almost like schematic drawings of it. I was just like, I'm going to flatten that bit out and sort of abstract this, and just sort of, I just sent that to them, and then they sort of remixed it and took it apart and sort of put it back together again. Designed the can.
And how did it feel having someone kind of disrupting your original idea?
No,
Did you hate it?
No, no, because I knew like that was the idea from the start. It was like, I made something with the intention of it being sort of dismantled and.
So you weren't precious.
No.
You
It's
were like, this is happening. Done.
We set all the boundaries and
Cool.
like it's only like that kind of thing. I'd probably have a problem with if nobody told me that they were going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the idea. So and it came out really well. It looks really nice. And I've seen it's actually someone's put it on Instagram already, and sort of lots of people saying, "Oh, it's really nice." And I really like the way they've done it as well. Sort of talking about Bruno Minari, a designer who I really like, sort of being influenced by him. And I was like, you like really got that kind of feel to it. So.
Yeah, I think it's quite cool because we've spoken about collabs before in the past, and whoever the lead brewer is on whatever beer it is, they kind of take the artwork and put it in their style.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice to see
Like a mix of the
photos
both,
of a
yeah.
complete blend of your artwork and North's kind of design team as well.
Yeah, I think it's like, I suppose it's like, it's a lot about trust and things like that as well. Like a lot of people have like an in-house person, and now the breweries are sort of, it depends how busy people are and stuff, if they've got other work on and things like that. I've just done one with Deo as well. Just like cat out of the bag there.
It's just dropping some
Just
exclusive news.
drop a dare in there.
But yeah, again, that I'm sure they don't mind. But I've just revealed a bit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hopefully by the time this comes out,
They're not going to hunt you down or kill you.
it'll be fine.
Give us more.
But it's really straightforward. It's like it's quite nice. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy when you've got such a sort of, you're sat in a room all the time working on your own way of doing things. It's not always easy. It's just about conversation. I always think like the jobs I do are always a collaboration anyway. Whether someone's like me, just telling me something or like informing me about something, giving an opinion, giving feedback or whatever. It's like they might not necessarily be doing the drawing, but they are sort of assisting me and helping me sort of get to the right solution for the image. Like I always see it as a collaboration anyway. So I feel like I'm quite I'm quite laid back about it. Like I do a lot of work, so it's like, thankfully, but so it's like, one project or one thing, like where it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's not, I always like to see what people think of that kind of thing anyway. Like when I'm not fully in control, or like if people have got an appetite for that kind of thing, it's quite nice to get things like that out there and just see how people respond to it. I'm not one. I'm in control of so much, like to feel comfortable anyway. Like I don't need everything to be like within my control constantly.
So you're not a control freak. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, well, to an extent, yeah. Like, in the way that you have to be if you're like trying to make a career doing, like
Given the opportunity.
I think it's a good way to be though. Just not, having that like power with the control sometimes.
No, you
and
give
just
yourself a
letting
heart
it-
attack.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more to life.
Very true.
So,
Very true. Right, we've got a couple more questions. Moving back to actually Instagram.
yeah.
You have got nearly 20,000 followers.
Yeah. Don't know how that happened.
Are we invited to the 20,000 follower party?
Yeah. That would be a party, wouldn't it?
I think I checked today. You're
Get Beak to supply it.
19,700. So that's very good. But my question to you is, which of the Instagram accounts that you follow is your favourite?
Oof. You know what? At the moment, well, this is going way off topic, but it's like it's called the Modern House. They just put like really. Is that what you remember? The
Yeah,
question?
just anything. Yeah.
It's like that's become a routine for me to check that in the morning. There's one called Modern House and another one called Inigo House,
Right.
which is like, because I've just bought a house and I'm sort of renovating it.
Yeah.
It's like just looking for little tips and
inspiration.
yeah,
I just have to say, Jay's taken a rare day off for us from his renovations in his house to come sit down and have a lovely little chat with us. So thank you.
It's nice to have an afternoon off.
How is the house renovation going?
Good. It's been slow. As I mentioned off camera, I hurt my hand a couple of months ago.
Your left hand.
My left hand.
Not your right hand.
So works fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that slowed me down quite a lot. But yeah, it's going well. It's like I'm learning a lot, and I'm sort of figuring things out, and really enjoy learning new processes. Like everything feels creative to me. Like, or it can be anything. Like anything can be creative. So like, you know, making the interiors of a house, building, like bricklaying, like anything, laying concrete feels like a creative process to me. And just, you know, when you get an eye for detail about things as well, it's like I'll make some mistakes, fine. Like I'm just learning. So, you know, a lot of my whole career's been about like trying, failing, then learning from that, and then you have to fail to sort of find your way. So making a house, it feels like a sort of like I'm at the start of that, and I like that. It's like I don't get everything right, but it's nice to like be involved in in processes and things again. And I just like making, like, it feels like an artwork. It's like, but you live in it, you want it to be comfortable and like.
It's like the ultimate artwork.
Yeah. It's like your little cocoon. You're building like a really nice.
100%. One more question for you, Jay.
Sure.
And we're going to wrap it. Well, we're not going to wrap it. We're going to take you over there to play a lovely game of Toads,
Can't
which
wait.
we're going to explain in the next section. But it's a standard question, probably comes at the end of every interview. What exciting projects have you got coming up which you can disclose? Please tell us.
I work on so many things. What I'm working on at the minute that's been really interesting is for an Irish newspaper called The Journal. I've really enjoyed working on that because it's slightly different. So it's like, feels a bit more like I'm trying to be intelligent with the illustrations and a bit more. It's not like an editorial in the newspaper. It's like part of their branding, part of the way they look. So it's a different sort of challenge to, like, you know, sometimes you get commissioned to do, like, someone will have done a piece of writing and you do an illustration. It's not like that. It's more about the structure of the business and things like that. I like the primary sort of message they're trying to get across about the newspaper and the kind of journalism they do. So that's been a really good challenge, sort of doing that. Really enjoyed that. I've just finished Baseline and I really like doing that one. And got loads more coming out with Beak.
That's good. That's music to our ears.
A lot of collabs you've got going on.
Oh yeah.
We're very excited.
More
I've just
beers
finished
from
another
Beak
three.
cannot be a bad thing, can it? Can it?
No pun intended.
No pandemic. Well, this is our sit-down part with Jay over. We're going to go and play a little game of Toads with him now.
Yep.
Can't wait.
Cheers, Jay. Thank
Cheers.
you very much.
Oh,
Thank you
very much.
So that was our interview with Jay Cover. Not Cover. He was an excellent man, wasn't he? I very much enjoyed gnawing his ear off and just listening to some of his crazy stories.
He's also got like a lot of like minor celebrity friends as well, which I really liked.
Yeah, he was name dropping a little
was.
bit, but he was doing it in a humble way.
Very, very humble man.
And what our viewers and listeners don't know is we spent nearly 2 hours with him before the actual interview.
Yeah, which
had some coffee.
It really helped, didn't it?
And it was just nice. We got comfortable with each other, and I feel like our interview with him was much better because he knew us and we knew him.
Yeah,
and we knew how far we could stretch the line,
which we're going to find out in the next segment.
Oh, you just wait for this. So Alex and I discovered our new favourite game on Wednesday.
Mate, I am so excited for this game.
So actually, I did a bit of research.
Okay.
And they were saying it's a game of toads, yeah? But the actual game is called Toad in the Hole.
Yeah.
which I didn't know because they just kept saying Game of Toads. Let's go and have Game of Toads. Alex, how great was that game?
I mean, you know how good we are at making up games, Sam, and we couldn't have invented a more simple but amazing game.
But I feel like that would have been the game we would have come up with, just because it was just.
If I was a stone cutter, I could make a hole in a bit of stone.
And now we are currently trying to hunt down our own table or board.
Oh, fuck knows. What's the cheapest you found so far? Mine's like 400 quid.
Yeah. I think 600 quid.
Really?
For me. Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
But I mean, we could make the base of it with the wood. We could do that ourselves, but it's the stone slate on the top, which might cause us problems.
I mean, maybe you could just make one out of like just wood. Just put a hole in wood.
I think
you can get those games, with the bean bags, but it doesn't look as
nah, we don't. We're not lowering ourselves to those standards.
If it's not brass, we're not playing it.
No, exactly. But I think with the wood, it would get a lot of wear and tear, so you might have to replace it every
couple of months. Did you see the stone in the pub we went to after? that thing was like a million years old.
The stone had imploded or exploded out. It was mental. Anyway.
We haven't actually explained anything about the game on purpose, though, because now we're going to show them.
Yeah, you'll understand the game when you watch this, because we got Jay to have a game whilst we did a quick fire question round with him, and some of the answers we got back off of him were remarkable.
Sam, you were like so happy, weren't you?
I was like, this is gold.
When we wrote the questions, we were like, these are going to be the questions we're going to keep consistent with all of our guests and maybe evolve them over time. And I could see your face, some of the answers, you were like, this is what you're rubbing your hands together in your head.
Yeah, and I'm already like, these questions are evolving for the next time.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
We are pushing the limits next time.
Right, so let's do it. So this is Jay Cover playing Toads with Sam asking the questions.
So we've just had a great sit-down interview with Jay Cover. And we are now going to play a game of Toads, which is an old traditional game from Lewes, actually, isn't it, Jay?
Yeah.
And I've heard that you're pretty, well, everyone calls you the special one when you play this game.
Well, no, it has been said.
Yeah.
But probably now I'm on camera, it's going to be absolute dreadful. Yeah.
Well, that is the truth.
Plus we've got a piece of wood here.
Piece of wood.
And that seems quite far away.
Could you actually explain to our viewers and listeners the concept of the game?
Yeah, so I think you'll hear Danny talk about it a bit more, because he was a bit more au fait with the rules and the history. But it's a local Lewes game, and I think they hold the international tournament here in Lewes. And it's a big town and game. I've been down here and played it a couple of times. And last time I was down here, we decided that we would come up with a Beak team, which hasn't come to fruition yet, but I'm sure it's on the cards at some point. But yeah, basically the essentials of the game are you get 4 coins, 2 points if you get it straight in a hole, 1 point if you land it on the surface, no points if you hit the backboard. And you go down, you start at 36, it's a bit like you go down to try and get to nothing, to 0.
And one of the reasons why we're making Jay play this game is because we've got a quick fire round of questions we're going to throw at him, and we want him distracted so we get the honest truth from him. So when you're ready, Jay,
right,
I will start firing the questions. Who is your favourite craft brewery? Beak not included.
I have to say Bushies, which is a Manx brewery. I'm the old man.
Cool.
I don't know if they count as, they're an old brewery. I don't know if they count as a craft brewery.
Danny, thoughts?
I actually haven't heard of it. No, they're very small. They're just very local. It's more of a nostalgia thing, really. It's like, I can't think of a beer that they do a best bitter that's just absolutely amazing, but it's more nostalgia, you know. It's like you have that relationship you have with food or drink. It's more about the nostalgia than it being like a really great, craft beer. Yeah,
cool. Okay, what's the best beer you've ever drunk in your life?
Oh, now.
It's a toughie.
I love Colonel Table Beer.
Table
Like,
beer.
I'm sorry to be like, I'm not allowed to say B. Can I? Can I say B?
Yeah,
I
you
love
can say B.
I love Strangers.
Strangers, I've had
Exactly.
that beer and it
Yeah.
is that's a spectacle.
Strangers probably is my favourite beer. Colonel again. It's like it's about memory and that sort of. I used to live in Peckham a long time ago. When Colonel was setting up, I would go there at weekends with
Yeah.
friends and just sit around, drink. They used to carve a bit of meat off a big joint that they just roasted, and and then it got really busy. There was wedding parties and things, and I sort of put me up.
Sounds
Quite-
wicked.
But yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Which famous person would you like to have a beer with?
Drew Barrymore.
Good choice.
Very
choice.
good.
I will definitely join you with that one. What have you recently added to your music playlist?
I've just invested in this is a plug for my friend Mike Burrows.
You plug away.
Called Fell.
Fell.
Yeah, he's got a lot of new EPs out. I've just invested in all his EPs on Bandcamp.
Cool.
Which is really great. He's always pumping out new music, so that's a little shout out to him, pals.
Supporting your pal.
Yeah.
Very good. You've got 50k to spend before midnight. Go.
I've just started doing it at my house, so that's the loft conversion, isn't it?
Done.
Yeah.
Where
Loft
were you?
studio.
Where were you going on your last outbound flight?
I was going back home to the Alamo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to see some family straight after the pandemic.
Nice.
Yeah, that was it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Which actor would play you in your biopic?
Christ. I don't know any actors. Brad Pitt?
Brad Pitt.
Is that?
There you go.
It's pretty
Brad
egotistical,
Pitt.
isn't it?
Could grow his head. Why not?
Yeah.
What is your biggest gripe and frustration? Stick something in room 101. What would it be?
Being overly cynical about things. I don't know. Like I do. There's a place for criticism.
Yeah.
Obviously, like things need to get better. People need to talk about things, but like I work in the art world, so it happens quite a lot. And I find myself doing it as well, being kind of judgmental. It's more on me than it is on other people. But like it's a thing that I over the years have sort of started to. I don't know. Like I had things about hobbyism and things like that.
Yeah.
But actually, now I just feel like there's a place for all that stuff, and I love it, and I actually really want to embrace sort of hobbyists and people doing things from what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I meet a lot of people who are scared to draw. People always say to me like, "Oh, I don't want to draw because I'm not very good at it," or like, "I don't want to do this because I'm not very good at it." And I think that's because a lot of people are critical of the outcome of things.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. Just like doing things is nice, experiencing things, learning how to do stuff. And
So being more open-minded.
yeah, essentially, yeah.
Awesome. You've got a choice on this one. What is the best or most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you in your life?
Best or most?
Yeah, you could choose one. The best thing or the most embarrassing thing.
Ooh,
What would you like to share?
crikey. That's a tricky
It's
question.
an open-ender.
Yeah. I've got. That is so.
All right, we can come back to it.
Yeah, let's come
Yeah.
back.
All right. So we've got some preferences of mine and Alex's. We want to see where you are on the preferences.
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Can or glass?
Glass.
And you're drinking a beer.
Glass.
If you've seen these films, Stand By Me or Forrest Gump.
Stand by me.
Arsenal or Chelsea?
Arsenal. For the history. I'm sorry. It's like we talked about this before.
And sitting in the shade or sitting in the sun?
Son.
So,
Yeah.
me again, mate.
Done me again, Sam.
Done ya.
Congratulations.
Have you had a thought about what is the best or most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
I'll go best because I've done so many embarrassing things. I just don't. I can't like pinpoint anything.
You're not ready to share them.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm happy to share them. It's just I can't
Yeah.
think of one thing. I did something at Danny's house before we met.
This is what I want to hear.
I got really drunk. It was at your house where we had pizzas, wasn't it? Do we have pizzas at your house?
But I don't remember you did it.
Yeah, I came over with Ollie. And this was like way before Beak and everything. What? And you had a little pizza over there back. Is that right? No. Who was that then? You were there. I thought that was at your house. See, this is embarrassing. I'm creating the most.
Right, this is it. This is the most embarrassing thing.
Got very drunk. Ended up being a room full of lads with their tops off, doing weights, dancing, and then, which is, quite honestly, is not like me at all.
How many lads are we talking?
It's probably 6 or 7 lads.
Yeah.
I think I might have wiped it.
Yeah, see, this is how embarrassing this moment was. But and then
What were you dancing to?
I cannot remember. Probably like some techno music. And then just doing weights and stuff. It was really funny. It was like drinking beers and doing weights. It was just like the most masculine thing you could think of. And then like I went to walk home, and then on the way home I lost my phone, and then I spent 3 days trying to check it, doing my phone, like trying to find where it was, looking. I went back there, sort of walking around the area, trying to find it, but never found that phone.
Never found it.
The whole thing it's more into my own, like, it wasn't an external embarrassment because it was in a closed group, but just my own shame. Weeks and
Well,
weeks.
thank you so much for sharing
What?
that, Jay. I don't know how far you got down with that, but
Not as good as usual.
Two toes.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right.
2 totes in a hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Very
It's
well.
been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye.
Sam, how was asking the questions like that? You got a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Because the reason, so in my head, so we knew about this game before we went to Beak.
Yeah.
Because Jay casually dropped it in an email to
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
That they played this game of Toads or whatever. We didn't have any knowledge of what the game entailed.
Mm-hmm.
But for some weird reason, I had a vision in my head of, because we always want to do a quick fire round of questions with our guests.
Yeah.
And for some weird reason in my head, I had a vision of asking the quickfire questions to our guest whilst they're playing a game, which would form a distraction, so we would get the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Which is exactly what you said.
Which
is
is-
the best answers.
Which
Yeah.
is, I think that's what we got,
We did indeed.
pretty much.
It was good. It was like, I was a bit skeptical at first. I was like, maybe this isn't going to work. And I was also worried about the audio and stuff just coming from the camera, but it like all fell into place.
It was the dream.
amazing. It was the dream. So after Jay and Toads and you having the best time of your life, we interviewed Danny Tapper.
Tapper.
I feel like Tapper is the best surname for a man that owns a brewery.
I've never even thought about that, but yeah, good. Keeping it in.
Danny
Keeping it in the industry.
Tapper was an added bonus.
He was.
So we had a quick interview with him because he was a very busy man.
Yeah, and it was never 100% confirmed.
No.
Jay was like, I might be able to get Danny to
Yeah.
sit down and have a chat with
Yeah.
you. And we were like, that would be amazing. But if it doesn't happen, it's fine. We've
Yeah.
got you, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
And he came through with the goods.
We got you, Jay. Sounds like Sonny and Cher. But yeah, so yeah, Danny's interview, just very quick and brief, but it was amazing.
He was very busy. He had 2,000
was.
bottles to bottle.
Anyway, let's just play it. This is Danny and go.
Well, we didn't know we were going to have an additional guest today. We've actually got the bloody owner of Beak Brewery sitting next to us, Danny Tapper. Cheers, Danny.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for having us.
Cheers.
Danny. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a special treat. We weren't too sure whether we were going to be able to have a sit down with Danny, but he's made some space for us in his very busy schedule. How are you, Danny?
Yeah, really good, thanks.
Yeah?
Yeah, tired.
Good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks
good.
like you've got a busy day going on in the brewery.
Yeah, we're bottling 2,000, hand bottling 2,000 mixed firm saisons today, so super busy, and it's a really small space, so yeah, there's a lot of like moving stuff around, and
And bottling, that's not normally the norm for you, is it? Are you kind of exclusively canning?
Yeah, well, we're not exclusively canning, but we're probably doing about 80% in cans, and then the rest goes into keg.
Brilliant.
So obviously, with this being a mixed firm beer, we want to bottle condition it. Hence the reason we're hand bottling everything. Yeah.
Cool. And you're doing this bottling with your mixed fermentation project?
Yeah,
That's
so we've, alongside our core beers, we're doing a mixed fermentation project, and basically the aim of the mixed firm project is to create beers with a sense of place. So I guess in like the spirit of winemaking, they would call it terroir, but it's the idea is to create beer with as many local ingredients as possible, and then just express the local area. So
It's amazing.
we're growing a field of heritage barley varieties just outside Lewes. We're harvesting local native yeast strains, and we're using local Sussex hops.
Amazing.
Yeah, and with this, what we've done is we've selected like a few of our favourite barrels of mixed firm beer, and we're blending it with a younger stainless steel fermented saison. So
Wicked.
Yeah.
It's cool. With the ominous big vat behind you.
the ominous big vat, yeah. So that's a 5,000 litre ex red wine barrel from Italy. But we're going to be using it as a fooder. So essentially, it's a little bit like having a sourdough starter at home. You fill it with your kind of mother beer, then that'll be a mixed firm beer. And as we take it out over the following months, we'll top it up with fresh beer, and then that'll inoculate the beer with all of those nice mixed cultures.
Amazing.
So it's like it's like an ongoing project, and the flavors will evolve over the next like few years.
It's great. Sounds
Yeah.
really interesting. So I was probably discussing with Alex when we were on the train coming down that Beak's journey has been really interesting in my eyes as a consumer of craft beer. Just seeing your cans and obviously draft in your cans in bottle shops and in pubs, and just you being more readily available. How proud are you of how much you've grown?
Well, yeah, it has been a bit of a roller coaster year. So, like, not a lot of people know, but before Beak came into like fruition a year ago, it was actually had been run as a nomadic project for about 3 years before then. So I used to be a freelance food and drink writer, and I just used to brew really intermittent batches of beer. So it'd literally be like 2 batches a year, and it was almost just like a passion project that just was financially not viable at all, and I just did it in my spare time, but essentially got out of control, and I enjoyed it so much that a year ago we got a bit of investment to set up this bricks and mortar place. But yeah, so we're really, really happy with the response we've had from not only like all our amazing independent stockists, but also like the wider brewing community who just like embraced us with open arms. But yeah, in terms of being proud, like it's really proud of the team we work with here. They're just absolutely amazing. So yeah, Robin, our head brewer, Kat, our operations manager, and Will, who does all the taproom stuff. Like they've been amazing. So we're just like figuring it out as we go, basically.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What do you think of the beer? That's the most important thing.
I think I've only had a couple of sips, but very excited.
Yeah.
One of our favourite words is dank. I would definitely put this in the category of dank.
Yeah.
Not too much, but like you said before, murky.
Yeah.
It's got a lovely colour to it.
Yeah. It's almost got a green tinge. I mean, there's a lot of hops in there, so I wouldn't be surprised. But
Yeah, very nice. And what are you drinking?
I'm drinking our unfiltered traditional Czech lager. So our operations manager, Kat, is from the Czech Republic, and she was really keen that we do a really traditional lager. So it's unfiltered Czech Pilsner, and it's just it's within the team. I think it's probably like our favourite beer. So it's funny because we do all these. We're quite well known for our hazy beers, but actually, like when you finish the day brewing and when we all sit down together, it's like usually a can of Déšt or a pint of bitter from somewhere.
From Harvey.
Maybe from Harvey's. Or, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And there's quite a lot of articles out there about Beak's nomadic journey. You kind of were travelling around making beer and with kind of like friends in the industry.
Yeah.
Before you settled here.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
Well, yeah. So as Jay might have mentioned in his earlier interview, he went to Leeds Uni, and like I'm from Leeds,
Yeah.
so there's that really strong northern connection. So when I was starting off as a nomadic brewer, the first kind of breweries I connected with and started brewing through were all in Leeds. So Northern Monk and North Brew Co, and then later Burning Sky. But essentially what I was doing was travelling around the country with my little book of recipes, and then going into breweries with a little bit of spare capacity, or who were just like kind enough to let me in and just would brew my recipes on
So
their
you're like
kit.
renting spaces here and there.
Essentially, yeah. So it's not like the easiest way to run a brewery, but it's a really good way to like figure out your branding, your recipes, like make connections and just see generally what the response is.
Yeah.
So like when it came to getting the funding for this, it wasn't like we were just doing it blind. We could be like, we know what the response is going to be. We know roughly what the recipes are going to be like. So yeah, I did that for a few years, and it was hard work.
Amazing.
It was basically me driving around the country with a boot full of beer,
Yeah.
selling them to independent bottle shops. So,
And are you happy you're settled now? Or do
yeah.
you miss the on the road?
No, I don't miss it at all. I love being in Lewes.
Yeah.
Like the local community have embraced us. The people we work with are amazing.
Yeah.
So all day long here, we've got people coming in and out, and yeah, I love it. Love having roots.
Were you ever tempted to set up in Leeds?
In the early days, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I moved south for work, and so we were living in Peckham originally, lived in London for 10 years,
Yeah.
and then came to Lewes for Bonfire Night. So Bonfire is the really big thing here. It's absolutely insane. Like the New York Times come here and cover it. It's
really?
massive. So you get like, tens of thousands of people coming down, crazy street parties, huge fires, health and safety goes out the window, lots of Harvey's best bit of drunk.
Amazing.
And yeah, just fell in love with the town, and then
Yeah.
thought, should we just move to Lewes?
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Wicked.
So I think Sam's got the serious stuff out of the way. So
You can have the
I
fun.
let
very
him get
serious.
on with that.
Yeah.
So we've got a few questions. So in our previous episodes, Sam and I like to rate our beers out of 5. I don't know if you're on Untapped or not.
I know we're on to Untapped, yeah, for sure.
So
I
do
try
you-
to
do you-
regulate how much time I spend on Untapped.
Oh, really?
Well, because it can become quite addictive if you're not careful. So in the early days of nomadic brewing, I was always checking like Untapped.
What,
And
checking
now-
the ratings of your own beers, you mean?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
because I was producing so few beers, every single review really mattered. I
Yeah,
took
yeah,
it to
yeah,
heart,
yeah.
you know. And now we just never check it.
Yeah.
because
I suppose.
you get the response on social media, and for me, that's a really good barometer of like
Yeah.
whether we're doing the right thing or
Yeah.
not. Sometimes, like I'll admit, we look at the overall score to see like what direction we're going in.
What, of the
but-
whole brewery, you mean?
of the whole brewery,
Yeah, yeah.
but generally wouldn't go and check on an individual.
No.
It must be like similar to actors or actresses who don't want to read the reviews in the
Yeah,
papers
exactly.
and like online reviews because they
Yeah.
just don't want to hear it.
And
You
you
know.
can't please everyone, so
Yeah.
yeah. Some people, it's funny. Like the best ones are like when they say this was the best West Coast IPA hands down I've ever had. Like absolute perfection. 2.5 stars.
Oh, yeah. Not even the first. I'm guilty of writing, the best West Coast IPA I've ever had, but I will, give it a 4.75
Rate it,
at
order.
Back it up with
Yeah.
a good score, yeah.
Go on, ask him.
So I was just going to ask you that, put you on the spot.
Yeah.
That beer you're drinking right now,
Yeah.
if you were rating it on Untapped,
As
What,
a
our
user.
own beer?
what
Yeah,
are
as
you
a
going to
user,
give
You
it?
can't ask me that.
We're putting you on the spot.
I can't win because
You're gonna do it.
because if it's not a 5, then my head brewer
No,
will
that's
get
fair
mental,
enough.
and it's-
To be fair, I didn't think you were going to answer it. So
I could,
I'll let you
I
off.
could probably tell you what other people might rate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so I've had this discussion with quite a lot of people in the brewing industry about how Untapped should have a rating per style. So at the moment, it's if you rate a lager, it's compared to every other beer in
Yeah.
the UK, so mainly New England
Yeah,
IPAs.
yeah,
things.
yeah.
But I feel like lager should have its own rating
That is
system.
true.
So
That's very interesting.
good point,
I've
yeah.
never
so,
heard that
so you
before.
could say for a Czech Pils, this is a 4.
Yeah.
But actually, most people will probably give it a, let's say,
it's
a
always-
3.75,
Yeah.
because compared to a double IPA, it doesn't have that immediate like punch.
And stouts are always at the top of the list
Oh,
as well,
yeah.
aren't they?
Everyone
Yeah.
loves the stouts. Yeah.
So you
That
have
is-
to take everything with a pinch of salt, really.
That's a very
I've
interesting thought.
Never thought about that
Never
before.
thought about that.
Yeah.
Never.
So if Untapped's listeing, I think that's what they should do.
Or send them an email.
Yeah, we'll send them a letter.
I also looked up your Google reviews, and you've got 4.9 Google reviews.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering where that 0.1% is missing.
Well, maybe it was me. It was probably the day I worked. I did one day behind the bar, and I'm a shit barman, so it's probably that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it just an off day?
Well, it was the
one
first
off
day we opened to me and my partner and our head brewer and head brewer's partner. Pretty much got stuck in with doing like all the bar service and stuff, and we didn't know what we were doing. So yeah, it's probably that 0.1.
Excellent. And then the last thing we want to ask you is about Beak Eats, which we saw on your website.
Oh yeah.
It's quite
So,
interesting.
I actually found out a bit of information next door in the coffee shop
Yeah.
that you used to be a food critic. Did you used to be a food critic?
Yeah, yeah.
You
So
did?
I used to work for the Good Food Guide as
Cool.
a anonymous restaurant critic,
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
which was fun.
So I've just leaked the truth.
So when we were setting this up, the initial plan was, instead of having a regular beer club, we'd do something which revolved around food. And the idea would be that you pay like a set amount, but instead of just getting beer every month, you get an invite to kind of curated restaurant, like pairing meal somewhere around the UK, and we all get together a few times a year and just have a blowout, ridiculous,
A feast.
like gout-inducing meal. But sadly, because we launched 2 weeks before the pandemic,
Yeah.
that went out the window.
Oh, okay.
So it's something we're still thinking about doing, but we just haven't had time to sort it out. But
Brilliant.
yeah, we like the idea of it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very interested in like food pairings with beers. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I think that's a very kind of unique concept that
Yeah.
that hopefully you'll be able to carry out in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, probably last question from us really for this sit down bit.
Yep.
We obviously want to play the game of Toads like we did with Jay earlier.
yeah.
Do a bit of a quick fire round with you.
Yeah.
But what's kind of coming up in the future for Beak? Have you got anything exciting you can disclose?
Yeah, so the mixed firm project will be coming into its own. So yeah, expect loads more mixed firm beers from us. Aside from that, we've got this is probably the first time we've mentioned this, but a best bitter, which we're putting into all cask best bitter. So that's like,
Nice.
in terms of, that's my desert island beer. Best bitter.
Yeah,
If I was
wicked.
going to die tomorrow, give me a pint of cask bitter.
Really?
Stone
Okay.
Five Floor. So yeah, that's exciting. We've got a canning line coming, which is just gonna, like, we're gonna be able to focus on quality and consistency, bring all that in house.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else we've got. We've got Oopfler, so our 10% Imperial Stout's coming out soon, and we've put a portion of that into 2 bourbon barrels, which we'll be releasing in January and February.
Amazing.
And yeah, we've got some exciting collabs with Verdant are coming down here pretty soon, so we're doing a collab
Okay.
with them. And then we're going to be going up to Cloudwater. We've got a Daya collab coming out. So yeah,
Lots
I'm
and lots of
excited.
stuff.
Literally sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see where you guys go next, to be honest. Thank you so
Thanks
much
for the support.
for sitting
Appreciate
down
it.
with us.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks, man.
you. We'll have to come
Thank
back
you.
when the brewery's not so busy, so we can actually
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
few pints. Of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
We
Should we
can do
have
that
a
later.
game of Toads?
Do it. Let's do it.
Do it.
Do it.
So that was the owner of Beak Brewery, Danny Tapper, and what a treat he was.
We spent, like, that was probably like 4 PM that interview. I think we got on the train like just before 11.
Yeah.
So with him the whole time. So he was a lovely man.
Yeah, he turned up in his car, or was he driving the Beak van?
No,
Did you see the Beak van
Yeah,
outside?
yeah. How good is that Beak van?
Literally covered in that the main
the
logo.
Yeah. No, he turned up in his car,
Oh,
and
he
then he
did.
left on foot
He did with us.
with us. They went to the pub, had some beer,
Mm-hmm.
had some food,
We did.
and then we played a game of Toads.
We did.
Another
In the
game of
pub, another
Toads.
game, another table. It was a whole different experience.
Yeah.
Talking about Game of Toads, we now have a little segment of Danny playing a game of Toads. Toad in the hole. Another round of quickfire. Same questions we asked Jay, but very different answers from Danny.
With Sam asking the questions.
Again.
With a big smile on his face.
Yeah.
Right, let's roll. Was it roll VT?
Roll VT.
Roll VT.
So this is a really ancient Lewes game, essentially, and they have the World Lewes Toad Championships here every year, but it's actually just people playing and a bit of the surrounding area.
Last
But
time I was here, we were really serious about starting our own team.
yeah, we were going to enter the World Championship.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's really simple. But you throw, this is a toad,
Yep.
and if you get it in the hole, and 2 balls, get it bad.
Okay.
But if it bounces off the back, or you get another.
And how many coins do you get?
You
per
get
go?
4 coins, and you start at 36, and it's the first down to 0.
Oh, really? Okay. So it could be quite a lengthy game.
It could be quite a lengthy game, and what tends to happen is like it starts off. People think it's going to be really boring, like a bit. About 10 minutes, the whole pub's watching.
Yeah.
And they're getting crazy and getting involved.
These are the games we love, Ellie.
One of the best pub games we will play.
Yeah, great.
Hands down.
So obviously for our podcast, we want to do a bit of a quick fire question rounds to you.
Yeah.
And we thought if we get you playing this game, we will
answer.
get the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the
All right.
truth. You're going to be distracted playing this.
Yeah.
So
you want me
when
to
you're
go
ready, I will start the questions. There's 10 questions. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's one.
Danny, who is your favourite craft brewery? Beak not included.
Colonel.
Colonel. Good. If you can, this is a bit of a difficult question, but what's the best beer you've ever drunk?
Probably Theakston's Old Peculiar from the Wood in the Craven Arms in the Yorkshire Dales.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have to check that one out.
Really.
Which famous person would you like to have a beer with?
Famous person. Oh my god.
Choose one famous person.
Yeah. Maybe I'm doing maybe Alan Bennett.
Alan Bennett.
Yeah, Alan Bennett.
Okay. What have you recently added to your music playlist?
Something by Bill Evans Trio.
Bill Evans Trio.
It was like a nice jazz song that I heard the other day in the brewery, and I was like, oh,
Love a bit of jazz. Love a bit of jazz. You've got 50k to spend before midnight. Go.
canning wine.
Is that how much a canning wine costs?
Actually, more like 100 grand.
Really?
50%.
I will
be happy with
Yeah. We'll double the money. Canning wine. Where were you going on your last outbound flight?
outbound flight.
We were allowed to go.
I think I was going to see my wife's family in Italy, so near Milan. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Which actor would play you in your biopic?
Oh, jeez.
Carry on playing.
I don't know any. I don't know any.
Right. Honestly.
Doesn't have to be an actor. Anyone.
Oh, literally.
Yeah, anyone.
Probably my friend Alan from Bradford.
What is your biggest gripe and frustration in life? So if you could put something in room 101, what would it be?
Littering.
Hey,
Littering. It really hurts me.
It's a
I
good
know
one.
that sounds pathetic.
No.
It's just one of those things that really, really gets me.
Yeah.
I think it's like, it shows, it's a judge of character. You know, if someone litters, like, what else are they doing?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
So you can choose on this one. What is the best or most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
I used to work as a journalist, and I was working with a very famous war photographer, and I knocked his hard drive off the desk and lost about 70% of all his Iraq war footage.
Oh my
That was horrific.
Shit.
Apart from that,
What did he do?
no, so I actually, I then took it to an IT specialist, and they managed to regain some of the lost data, so it wasn't like we didn't completely killed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Good. You still stand up. And then we've got 5 preferences of mine and Alex's, and we just want you to choose which one your preference is. Okay?
Okay, yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Can or glass when you're drinking a beer?
Glass, yeah.
If you've seen these films, Stand By Me or Forrest Gump?
Stand By Me.
Arsenal Football Club or Chelsea Football Club?
I don't really like football, but Arsenal.
Last one, sitting in the shade or sitting in the sun?
Shade all the way.
3-2.
Baby. Danny, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks very
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And that was Danny playing Toads. And then after that, Sam, we played a game of Toads with all 4 of us. And if I remember rightly, if my memory serves me well...
Don't be humble. Be humble.
I'm not talking about me, Sam.
You are talking about you are talking about how you played that game for the first time. Beat Jay and Danny, who are seasoned veterans, may I add. They were very, very good quality players.
It was beginner's luck, Sam.
Okay, we could pin it down to beginner's luck, but you took to that game like a duck to water. you were insane.
What we haven't mentioned is how terrible you were at the game.
Oh, shut up. I was all right. I did warm up to it.
Yeah, you
when
did.
we got to the pub, I was getting the toads in one.
That's a new
Toads in
thing.
one.
Sure.
If they don't coin that phrase, we'll introduce it to them at the
Toad in one.
Toad. Was it Toad in the whole championships? They were telling
The
us
World
about?
Championships, yeah. Mate.
So
Oh.
apparently, exclusively, this game is only played in Lewes, but they have World Championships of it. So everyone from around the world comes to Lewes and plays the World Championships.
It's like the baseball World Series only played in America.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. So, what I propose, Alex, we get hold of a table, practice for a year,
Yeah.
and then enter the World Championships the following year.
Or worst case scenario,
Mm.
we aren't good enough, which is very, very likely.
No.
Let me finish.
No, it's very unlikely, Alex. If we practice for a year, we'd be the dog's bollocks.
Okay.
And what I was going to add was we'll get Jay and Danny involved.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
So we'll say to them, you have to be a team, we'll have to be a team, and then we'll face off at the World Championships.
Or we don't want to be a team with them.
I don't know how it works.
Okay. If
If there's a 4-man team, yes.
Okay,
let's
fine.
do that.
Okay, cool. But I was going to say, worst case scenario, just in case we're not that good,
Okay.
we just go there and make a podcast about it.
And just drink some craft
Yeah,
beer.
at least we're there. Like
And
it's-
commentate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a toad in one, toad in one, toad in one.
Deal. But I think Jay and Danny would be up for that. We'll lay the challenge down for them.
Yeah.
We'll say, source us a table in Lewes. We'll come pick it up, and then we'll be like, come on, practice for a year, and then we'll go.
We don't even know when they are.
We'll go toe to toe.
Toe to toe. You're just making these up.
I just want to beat Danny and
I
Jay.
think we just make up our own game of toads. All these new sayings you're coming out.
And then, do you know what we could do? We could get Danny to lay the keys to his brewery on the line at the World Championships. And then we play for Beak Brewery.
This is turning into an Adam Sandler movie. we're like the Happy Gilmore of toads.
Yeah. And then also on the line is Jay. If we beat Danny, we get his brewery, but we get to keep Jay to design the cans.
We get to keep him in a little cage.
Yeah, in the cage. And we'll just be like, you're right, Jay. We've got another 5 new beers coming out this week. Crack on.
I bought you a new pen, Jay. What the fuck are we even talking about? Right, let's end this right here because this is already a ridiculously long episode.
Okay.
And we've got to record number 6 as well.
Overactive imagination.
It really is mad. Right. Anyway, Sam, I had literally
Did you
what?
just say we need to record episode number 4?
No, 6.
Oh, I thought you said 4.
We've already done 4.
Well, we'll check that later.
6. Oh, we can if you want. I definitely said 6.
You were going to say one more thing. I want to hear it.
I was going to say that last Wednesday was like ridiculously fun, and I'm just so like excited to
Do another one.
do more of them.
Yeah. I think when we go on these kind of excursions and trips
Yeah.
and someone pulls out a game of toads, we're not expecting it. It's fun, isn't it? It's just, I think what makes these, well, I know we've only been on one trip, but what made that trip so great was the unexpected.
Yeah. I mean,
Don't you think?
we had like it in our minds that we were going to go there and we were going to drink some beers, and we knew there was going to be a game. And then we were like, and then we said like, we hope we get to stay afterwards and have a couple of drinks and then maybe even go out for dinner. And everything we everything we imagined and hoped happened.
To be honest, I honestly wasn't even thinking any of that stuff.
Really?
I thought it was going to be quite serious. Do the interview,
Yeah.
like have a brewery tour if we were lucky.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, right,
Yeah.
fuck off.
That's what I mean. It was like that was our best wish list items.
Yeah. And this is why I love this industry, and I'm sure I can speak on your behalf. Is welcoming, accommodating. Like Danny basically locked us in the brewery after the interviews and was like, crack on.
Yeah.
Gave us how many beers?
But also
All of his beers.
all of his team as well. All of the
Max.
all of the men and women from his team were all amazing, weren't they?
Do you remember Max?
Max was brilliant.
Max was a great character. I love Max.
He's coming on our podcast one day with his stories.
I think he said when the brewery who shall not be named gets bought out, he will come on this podcast and spill some serious shit in it. Him and his brother. He said my brother used to work for him as well.
That is what he said.
And yeah, he promised us. So we're going to hold you to that, Max, if you're watching. We'll get him on as well. I forgot about that.
It was good.
But yeah, it was a great day. We both enjoyed ourselves. To the next one.